Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cancel culture has peaked. People are now getting canceled for having an opinion. Oh no, not an opinion. I know, right? It's the next boogeyman. It's the next big bad wolf. Having an opinion on the internet is now illegal, ladies and gentlemen. James Charles is getting canceled. Can I just stop saying the word canceled? Let's just find a new word, guys. James Charles is getting called out for having an opinion, and as well, getting called out for being a hypocrite and a racist. First, the reason why James Charles is getting called out for having an opinion on the internet is because he left a TikTok comment saying, "Don't have children, please," in response to a woman saying that she wouldn't allow her son to wear a dress. I know, right? So disrespectful. Send him to the gas chambers for having an opinion. But this is the video that made James Charles say, "Don't have kids."
He's not gonna wear a dress. Even though the world laughs at it, scoffs at it, mocks at it, makes you feel bad. When you are a parent, you decide what is acceptable in your household. The same way Eliana is not going to be walking around looking like she's grown when she's 13 years old. It's not acceptable. My husband does not wear dresses. My son is not going to wear dresses. As a parent, I decide what I want my children to do until my children become of age. When he's 18 years old, then he can go about his business and do whatever he chooses to do because he is an adult. The Bible says, train up your child in the way he should go. And a lot of parents are shirking this duty to be hip, to be cool, to look a certain way for people on social media. And I'm never going to do that. I'm going to raise my children to what I believe is biblically solid. And whether they choose to follow that or reject that when they get older, that's perfectly up to them.
Wait, let me get this straight. So if your 11-year-old boy, if your 11-year-old son came up to you saying, "Hey mom, you know what? I don't know if you've been picking up on the hints recently for me asking for a pink bike for my birthday, but I think I really just like boys, and I think I'm gay." So based on what she said, she's gonna say, "Fuck no, you're not gay up until you're 18. Then you can decide to be gay when you're 18." And she expects no one to have a problem with her saying that live to thousands of people on the internet. She just expects everyone to be fine with that shit. Like, people are gonna disagree with your opinion. If you're putting something out on the internet and you expect everyone to be willy-nilly about what you're saying, you've got this whole internet shit all wrong. And also, ask yourself this question: why are you allowed to share your opinion on the internet, but you get mad at other people for sharing their difference in opinion about what you said? It just makes no goddamn sense. So then this woman started losing her panties based on what James Charles said, based on having a difference in opinion. But then she made another TikTok video in response to what James Charles said.
Hi, James Charles. So I saw your whole situation with Trish and I thought, oh, okay, makes sense. He can defend himself. But then for you to turn around and do something very similar to me is just very hypocritical of you and very obnoxious. I've seen you pop up on my feed millions of times, and I've never once thought it was appropriate to harass you or wish some unkindness upon you for your lifestyle.
Sorry, just gonna have to stop you right there, buddy. But you're telling me it's harassment for James Charles to leave a comment saying, "Don't have children, please," in response to your shitty opinion that you decided to make public on the internet? Where is the harassment? Let's stop throwing around these huge words over something as little as leaving a comment saying, "Don't have children, please." That's literally a difference in opinion, and for you to claim it's harassment, he didn't go on his Twitter saying, "Hey, everybody send death threats to this woman because she has this opinion." All he did was state his opinion in the comment section. What is wrong with you? When the fuck did the internet get so sensitive?
It is crazy to me that there are literal child molesters out there, people who beat and starve their kids, and you all are so pressed because I say that it's not acceptable in my house for my son to wear a dress.
Do you know what that's called right there? It's called whataboutism. You bring up something that has nothing to do with the subject at hand just to bring away the attention. What does child molesters have to do with anything that we're talking about right now? We're talking about your shitty opinion and how you're claiming that you got harassed by James Charles for giving his opinion back. Where is the harassment? Where do child molesters come in? This has nothing to do with anything you're talking about. So why don't I use this same logic in a situation like my mom tells me to take out the trash. Say I don't take out the trash and my mom tells me 2 hours later, "Hey, Lerix, why don't you take out the trash?" And I say, "You're really mad at me over not taking out the trash when there's people getting killed on the daily? You're a sick fuck, Mom." You see how that makes no goddamn sense, right?
I'm going to continue to parent the way I see fit in my household, James Charles, because this is my household. And just because you're a celebrity on the internet with millions of followers is not going to change my mind. My foundation is stronger than man's approval. So carry on, James.
What does James Charles having millions of followers have to do with him giving his opinion about the way that you parent? You put the way that you parent out on the internet for thousands of people to see, and just because that someone with a lot of followers has a difference in opinion, then it's harassment? The fact that people are taking this seriously and taking her side in this just shows how brain dead the internet is. I'm so sick of James thinking he can say and do whatever he wants like he is untouchable. Are you out of your actual mind? So giving your opinion on the internet is thinking that you can do whatever you want? Why do I log into Twitter? Some of these influencers get way too comfortable on these apps. So you're telling me getting comfortable on an app is giving your opinion? I don't know why I even own this app anymore. Why did I install Twitter, man? And believe me, I could care less if this woman is raising her kids in the Bible's order and for Jesus's teachings, and that she won't allow her son to wear a dress. I don't care about that. The only thing I care about is that when you claim harassment, when people are just giving their opinion back and forth on the internet. Like, if she never claimed that James Charles was harassing her, then I wouldn't even be talking about this. I would have zero problems with it. But when people start to take the victim, when all someone is doing is responding to your opinion back with their own opinion, that's when it makes no goddamn sense.